Oh, I
It's
put
in
it in the group.
It's in the chat, the Omni chat.
All right, I'll put it in there for you.
Did you know there's another Omnibus Collector Facebook group?
Oh, wait, what? There is?
Yeah, Omnibus Collector and Comic and Swap Community Benelux. Yeah.
What?
You just found that out? You didn't know that?
What?
They stole your whole name?
What? What is this? I'm having like an existential crisis at the beginning of the show. It's a page or something, like it's not a group, it's a page.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
That's weird because it looks like it's just one dude. Don't believe in the false prophet.
So maybe he is the real Ryleymo.
I hung out with an imposter.
What the shit?
I hung out with Ryleymo.
Oh no.
Copyright infringement.
Huh. Okay, well anyway, I guess we should just go ahead and start. Matt, there can be only one. I mean, I have a copyright, don't I? Is it the C or is it a TM?
Do you have the copyright for Omnibus Collector?
Yeah, I have a.
He
I have
does,
a TM
yeah.
next to my name.
You've got the website.
Yeah, I have the trademark just so people don't like try to act like they're me. Huh. All right. Well, anyway, here we are. Welcome to another episode of the Omnibus Collectors Comic Show, Omnibros Live. It's a show where we're live about Omnis, but not this week because we ran out of topics, and we decided to talk about movies. And then I remembered that I worked in a movie theater for 6 years, and I remembered this is going to be a fun show. So, so with me as always. And I'm really excited to have it on my page again, my channel, because it fucked up last time. So that sucked. But anyway,
your fucking mouth.
Hey. So anyway, as always, I've got with me our co-hosts, Luis of Hardcover Reviews.
Howdy. How's everybody doing?
And I've got Mr. Jess the OmniDog Bragg.
Woo! Hit him with the hyena.
Baba boy.
Baba boy.
So, if we all dressed up as dogs, we could be like 3 Dog Night or something.
Oh yeah.
And be like, "Mama told me not to come," and then you'd be like, "Yeah, exactly."
Don't forget the lyrics to the song we're gonna sing to Louise.
Which song were we gonna sing to Louise?
Well, it'll come up when he talks about books that he's bought.
Oh fuck yeah! All right, cool. I remember now. That was great. All right, so the topic for tonight is movies. We've got about an hour and a half before I have to get off of here because my wife gets really pissed if I'm on here past like 9 o'clock. She's like, "You never spend time with me." So let's go ahead and jump right into our opening salvo, where we talk about things that we bought and things that we've read. I'm going to real quick just say I bought a fuck ton of stuff, but it's not coming in until next week.
Sure, Riley,
a fuck ton of stuff that I probably shouldn't have bought, I want to say.
Oh.
And I read one book, one physical book, and a bunch of digital issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just talk about that book after you guys take it away.
What are we starting with? What we bought?
Either, both, neither.
Okay. I didn't do anything except that I did buy Batman Golden Age Omnibus number 3. No surprise to anybody that's what I like. Dark Knight Returns. Yoink. number 8. Book 8.
And then the Nightfall Omnibus.
Why would you do that? No, actually, the first half of Nightfall was good.
It crashed after the first page.
It's not that bad.
I bought a good comic, Fables, book 14.
Fables is good.
Fables, that's a good comic. And then the book I'm most excited about is one that not a lot of people know about, and that's The Complete Phonogram.
Oh, I've been wanting to pick that up.
Oh, it's so good, by Gillen and McKelvey and the Wicked and Divine guys.
The Wicked Decline.
The Wicked Decline, those guys. I love Phonogram, and it was like 45 years before Volume 3 came out, and then boom, right on top of it came the hardcover. So I'm excited about that.
Isn't the hardcover in color too?
I don't know. I haven't unsealed it yet. It looks like it's in color.
Jess doesn't open his books. He lives on the edge.
No, I don't. I don't open them till I'm ready to read them. So that's what I bought in all its shrink-wrapped glory.
Did you read anything?
I did. I read a great book. I cranked it open as soon as I got it. Legion. And I can't say enough about it. I loved all of it. And if you think, well, it's the TV show is very loosely based on this. But talk about layers. This thing has multiple layers, and I just loved this book. It's probably the first omnibus that I've ever just immediately opened and immediately read. I put Omnis way off because they're so intimidating. I usually put them off to read, but I opened this thing right up, and God, did I love it. Great writing, great art. Words am good, pictures am good. This is a must own for anybody that's even remotely a fan of X-Men. I don't even know where it is in the continuity of X-Men because I just drop in X-Men books. I open it up and just assume everything. Okay, he's with her, she's with him, he has these powers. So I didn't know anything that was going on prior to or afterwards, but I loved it. And I'm also in the middle of East of West, book 2.
I need to get that.
And to understand it, I reread for the 10th time year 1, sorry. And right now, year 2 is pretty good. I don't think I've gotten really into the meat of it yet. Book 1, of course, is fantastic. But I'm about a third of the way through it.
What would you say so far is stronger, book 1 or book 2?
So far, year 1 is stronger, but it may just take a while to get going. I've heard that from multiple people that year 2 is actually the stronger book. So I had to read book 1. I'm not kidding, probably 10 times. Because there's so much going on in it. So I imagine this is just my first read through on this. I'm going to have to reread it and reread it to get everything that's going on.
Yeah, Hickman's a slow burn guy.
I know that I believe it's the material in that second book focuses a lot on one character in particular.
Yeah.
I really, really dug. Like, it was a really emotional story for that character going forward.
Was it the young one? I don't want to give too much away. The one young pale one that's introduced at the end of the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so far that's been the focus, so it's the focus throughout the whole book, huh?
I believe so.
Okay.
Because he was absolutely fascinating. Like, the whole concept of him and everything.
Right, I agree with that.
That pushes that story quite a bit, and it actually, like, one of the issues is with the first with that series at the beginning was there's not a lot of emotional connection to the characters because a lot of them are meant to be embodiments of concepts and gods and shit like that, and then some of them are just you meet them so briefly just in introductions that you don't really, there's no emotional connection, there's no character, it's all exposition and just creating this world and letting you know how vast and crazy it is. And then in the second book, you start getting into where you're visiting particular characters in depth and meeting them and finding out like who they are emotionally and how they react to their situation in the world. And it just makes it it gives the series another layer, because at first it's interesting because you're like, wow, this is an interesting world that he's building and these are some cool characters, I want to see more. And then he finally gives you more.
Yeah, I will say that about Legion. That was a very fascinating world he built in Legion. That was amazing.
Yeah, I enjoyed. If I recall, Jess, I don't think you'd read anything or much of anything with Legion before.
Correct.
So it's really interesting if you go back and you read other Legion stories where he's not, because this is a big change for him, where he's more organized. His powers are not so haphazard, you know. Because he's in this book, it's like he's gotten to organize the way his head works and the way all the things in there are.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I just thought it was fascinating, the whole world that he built in that book, the world in his head. I mean, there's a world, and then there's a world in his head, and a world on the astral plane, and there's all these worlds. It's amazing.
Yeah. I still my favorite book that he's written is Manhattan Projects.
Oh, Hickman?
Yeah. I love Manhattan Projects.
I do love that book too. That's got a lot of layers in it too.
Yeah, because I'm a history dork, so Manhattan Projects is right up my alley. But it's
You're
on
just
hiatus.
a dork.
That's true. It's on hiatus though, isn't it? Manhattan Projects?
Yeah, it's they did, I think issues 1 through 25 was the series, and then they started it was either a mini or a second ongoing series. I forgot what the subtitle was, but it moves focus to something else entirely.
The subtitle was "I'm getting to the Shield book now."
And the thing is, I tried getting into. I like Hickman for the most part, but I tried getting into his recent book, Black Monday Murders. I read the first issue, and it just was not clicking with me for some reason.
I need to read that.
I'm gonna give it a reread. It just didn't do anything for me. Have you read it, Riley?
I did the same thing. I read the first issue, and it didn't get me, so I'm gonna hold off and read it later when I'm in the mood for that.
So what do you buy and read this week? Hardcover?
I picked up, and I don't have it with me, it's outside, but I picked up the final volume of BPRD Hell on Earth. That's also the same thing that I read this week. My 2 cents on it, it ends very well. Like, Hell on Earth ends extremely well. It's a bit abrupt because there was so many things going on, and it's literally the end of the world as we know it. The ending is a bit abrupt, but they stick the landing for me, and it's a story that they've been working on for years and years and years and years and years and years. And to me, they absolutely landed, and it's such a good story. If you've not read any of the Hellboy stuff, my advice to you is, if you want, I've said this before, if you want to read Hellboy, read Hellboy. If you want to read BPRD, jump into BPRD, but start with the Plague of Frog stuff, and then jump into Hell on Earth, because that stuff all leads into what happens in these final issues, and it was just great. It was very emotional, actually. It was really touching stuff. It got me.
This is BPRD Hell on Earth?
Yes, the final volume came out, I want to say 1 or 2 weeks ago. It was volume 15 of Hell on Earth.
Oh, okay.
Plague of Frogs, I think, had 12 volumes before that, 12 or 13 volumes. And they are releasing Hell on Earth later this year in hardcover collected editions, and I'm going to be picking those up. I just actually sold my entire Hell on Earth set to somebody in the group because I plan to upgrade, because I have to have everything in hardcovers now that they're coming out. Ape Sapien's also getting the hardcover treatment too.
I saw that today.
Yeah.
I'm particularly excited about all of these new things, new collections for the Mignolaverse.
My thought is, Vampire is still out of print, and they've already done the whole 1950 series, and Vampire comes directly after the 1950 series. So I wonder if they're going to shoehorn that in or collect it, because if you don't get the trade, you're actually missing out on a really damn good vampire story in the Hellboy universe that takes place after the 1950 series.
Mm.
Isn't there? I think there's a like Hellboy and the BPRD miniseries. There's several other minis shoved in there.
Yeah. There's Hellboy and the BPRD. I think in 1950. That's a separate series from the 1950 series, from the BPRD 1950 series. Trying to think what else. Plus, they've got, I think it's called The Outsider, that just started these past few months, and that's going to be collected soon. So there's a lot of little stuff here and there. They've got Frankenstein. So I guess if they want to kind of collect like these one-shot trades into a collection, I could see them doing that. Like Hellboy other stories or BPRD other stories or something like that. Because even when they get all these main titles, there's still going to be Frankenstein. There's still going to be Vampire. There's still going to be a lot of these other one-shot trades that aren't going to get collected. And it's a damn shame because a lot of those one-shot trades are really good.
Yeah, they need to put out some hardcovers for, now that they're doing Abe Sapien finally, they need to do Lobster Johnson and like Witchfinder.
Somebody's asking me if it's a decent wrap-up to the Magnoliaverse. The Magnoliaverse isn't over yet. Like, they're still putting out stuff for Witchfinder. They're still putting out, they're still expanding on the universe. And I believe they said they've got one more round of BPRD stories.
Yeah, it's the Devil You Know.
Yeah, and that'll be the end of it.
The third and final story cycle. So I don't know if it's going to be as long as the first two, because the first two were like, the first one was 14 volumes long, and the second one was 15 volumes long as far as like paperbacks go.
Yeah. So I mean, I doubt, based upon the ending of Hell on Earth, I doubt they would go that long unless they really introduce something new as far as the villain, because it's a pretty definitive ending. As far as other things I picked up Flintstones. Haven't read it yet. I'm planning to read it. I'm going to sit down with that either tonight or tomorrow. What else did I pick up? Picked up the new volume of Abe Sapien, and that's about it.
There was something else that you picked up. You were talking about.
Oh,
I didn't
end up on Amazon.
No, I didn't end up picking it up. I left it in the cart because I didn't need to pick it up.
But we were just talking about Shaft.
But what book was it?
I was going to pick up Shaft, A Complicated Man by David Walker. And if you haven't read Shaft, it's fucking great. It's Shaft post-Vietnam.
Okay, go.
Who's the black private dick that's a sex machine to all the chicks?
Shaft.
You're damn right. Who is the man that would risk his neck for his brother, man?
Shaft.
Can you dig it? Who is the cat that won't cop out when there's danger all about?
Shaft.
Right on. You see, this cat, Shaft, is a bad mother.
Shut your mouth.
But I'm just talking about Shaft.
Well, we can dig it.
All right, that's enough.
We're good? You guys got it out of your system?
We've been waiting a week.
No, but I ended up leaving it in the cart, but I plan to pick it up. Shaft, A Complicated Man. It's basically centers around Shaft. He just got back from the Vietnam War. He just became a cop, and it's basically his first time, his first case. It's really good.
Okay.
I've been enjoying other things that David Walker has been writing, like at Marvel and stuff. Overall, I think I believe he wrote a Cyborg series.
Yeah, I heard that was good.
I didn't really like it.
Really?
I believe it was his series that I didn't he did the first Cyborg, and the second Cyborg series for Rebirth. I don't know who the writer is, but I gave up on the character after David Walker's because I just thought it was really boring. But David Walker's Luke Cage and Iron Fist series was really good. Occupy Avengers is interesting. He's been doing some good shit.
It's a shame they canceled his Power Man and Iron Fist, because that was one of the few Marvel books I was still reading.
That's a current book that got canceled?
Yeah, yeah.
So I think
guess what, Jess? They're rebooting Iron Fist in a month.
Rebooting the TV show?
No, they're putting out another Iron Fist comic in a month.
It started last month.
Yeah.
There's 2 issues out already.
And they're rebooting it already?
And then Luke Cage is getting his own, so they're just splitting up into 2 books.
Yeah.
But I think Luke Cage is still written by David Walker. I'm double checking that right now. But yeah, the Luke Cage Iron Fist series has been really fun. It's David F. Walker on the current Luke Cage series. And then if you've ever read, I don't remember the fucking title of it, but it was an Image book from a couple years ago. Ed Brisson, or however you pronounce his name, is the writer of that series, and he's the writer of the new Iron Fist. Sheltered. That was it. I don't know if either of you guys read that.
Sheltered?
Yeah.
I did read it, but it was a while ago, so I can't remember anything about it.
It was like there's people who have like an apocalypse bunker, like camp.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
Kids, like, because they're all like preparing for the apocalypse, and then the kids murder all of the adults.
Mm-hmm. I heard about this.
They take over the camp, and it runs for 15 issues. It's really fucking good. It's a really like nice self-contained story that I really recommend. It's collected across like 3 trade paperbacks, I think.
I remember reading it in floppies 3 years ago or something. And we all know how good my memory is.
It's better than mine.
I don't know, man. I have a terrible memory. That's why I have to reread so much stuff.
Really? I have a pretty terrible memory too. It's bad. The thing is, I'm young, and it's like my girl gets on me all the time. She's like, "How are you so young and your memory is that bad?"
Did you guys read the Batman 21, The Button?
I have not. I don't read single issues.
Me either.
For like the rare occasional one.
I've got it on my queue right now, but I haven't read it yet. I've been reading through all of the Secret Empire related stuff.
Yeah. Did Captain America ruin your childhood?
No, because everyone who's saying stuff like that is completely overreacting.
It's so dumb when you hear stuff like that.
And it's dumb because we were talking about this earlier in our chat about how like the Zero issue is putting people up in arms because of stuff it was doing. And it's like, it's the same shit they've been doing for the past year. Why are people getting upset again? it's literally, and I mean, the storyline has been so boiled like every single month. It's just Kobik, the cosmic cube, has implanted false memories into Steve Rogers' head, and he believes that he's been a Hydra sleeper agent since he was a child. That's it. Like, that's the story. And so every single new issue that comes out, media outlets are going to try and make a big deal out of it, and then more people are going to get pissed who aren't even fucking reading the comic. So
yeah, it's taken completely out of context, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, even in other books, they're going into it, and like in Thunderbolts, for instance, they're covering it because Bucky is leading the Thunderbolts, so he's he's reacting to this stuff, and they actually have him like reliving moments from their past and moments from when he was Cap's partner during World War II, and all of a sudden like he's seeing Cap as a Hydra agent, stuff like that. So they're even fucking with his memory now. And it's really interesting the way that they're pulling out. But and here's some slight spoilers. If you read Amazing Spider-Man the clone conspiracy. There's some stuff that happens with Dr. Octopus in that one, and it ties into Secret Empire.
Yeah, you were telling us about that in the chat.
It's kind of interesting. It's really hokey, but it's just the sort of thing that I love in my comic books. Like, it's hilarious and great.
Is Clone Conspiracy out yet in hardcover?
It actually came out last week, I believe.
Is that something you think I'd like?
If you've read much of what's his name, Dan Slott's run, then yeah, I think
Okay.
you would.
Okay.
I think it's time for Dan Slott to kind of hang up the web shooters for a bit. Give it to somebody else.
I feel like he's got a couple of stories left, and then I don't know where he could take the character, because he's basically pulling Peter back to where he was.
Yeah.
He's setting up the dominoes to be knocked down and
Yeah.
Peter to return to being like...
He's got to put the toys in the toy chest again.
Yeah. I mentioned before, someone I was talking to was like, you know, what do you think about them moving Spider-Man forward like that? And I was like, well, Spider-Man's a character, you want to take him like 3 steps forward and 2 steps back if you're doing a long run on him. Like, take him forward considerably, do huge things, make him evolve, and then pull him back a while. Like, but still leave him a little bit further than he was before you were on the book. So that said, he should pull him back, but let Peter not be in the same situation he was before Big Time. Like, he should be in a better, more advanced place, but just not, you know, the head of Parker Industries, which seems like it's collapsing anyway. So
I feel like I agree with you. I think Dan Slott's time is coming to an end, and it's nothing against the guy, because I actually find his Spider-Man run, at least the stuff that I've read, actually really good. He's gotten a lot of hate in the past, and you know, he does kind of poke the bear at times on his Twitter, but I think it's a solid run overall, and I would love to see it collected over the span of a few omnibuses.
Okay.
well, anyway, the one book that I read this week, before we go into movie chat, is the adaptation for Twilight Princess, The Legend of Zelda, the first volume, and I was actually really pleased with it as a fan of the franchise and that game, because when comparing to other adaptations for video games, and especially the Zelda adaptations, they're usually really, really like thin, and they cover a whole game. Like, usually Zelda games, usually, like with Zelda games, it takes, you know, what, 10 hours to beat on average or something.
Zelda games?
No,
Maybe less. I don't know. If
No,
maybe
more.
10 hours.
I thought it took like 50 hours. It'd take me 50 hours to beat it.
Breath of the
It would
Wild
take
can
me.
easily take you about 50 hours.
But an average Zelda game that's not open world,
Looking about 20 hours. I think.
or Majora's Mask, I would say 10 to 15 hours if you're moving at a brisk pace and not stopping to collect everything.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they're shoving all that into a single book, sometimes 2 books. With that said, it's like every chapter is Link going through a single dungeon really quickly, just jumps in, and then he's done already by the end of it. So it's kind of annoying, because it's cool to see that shit, but at the same time, it's like, you know, I wish they would expand more. I wish they would give more character. Twilight Princess, though, finally fixed that issue, where instead of being just thrown in there and, like, you know, dungeon after dungeon after dungeon, and then knocking it all out in one volume, the first volume of that series, like, doesn't even get past the opening of the game. Like, it's him before he even turns into Wolf Link, which was the big thing from that game. So I looked up on it, and it looks like it's meant to be 4 volumes. So 4 volumes rather than the maximum before was 2. So it's going to be really interesting. It has more character to it. It goes into like a backstory for Link, and it honestly reminds me of an all ages version of Berserk.
Ooh.
Hmm.
My attention.
And now, of course, the question on everybody's mind is, did you get those glasses you're wearing in red like you were planning on?
I haven't had time to go out and get anything yet.
But you're going to get a red version?
I'm thinking about red.
I'm thinking you should. Red would pop.
I think red's a good color.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess we move on to movies now. I know, Luis, you had a few topics that you thought we could talk about as far as movies go, but really just, we all love movies.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone loves movies. I love movies. You love movies. Blah, blah, blah.
Who doesn't love a good movie?
And who doesn't love a good bad movie?
Amen to that. There are tons of them that I love. I have a certain affinity for good bad movies. Like I love the Fast and Furious series.
You love what now?
I love the Fast and Furious series. They're terrible. They're not the best movies, but they're fun.
I've never seen one.
What? Not one? There's 8 of them already, Jess.
I know.
It's about family. You think I'm kidding? All the movies are about family.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Family. I don't know. That never comes across in the commercials.
You would think, but honest to God, all the movies are about family.
I don't know. That just sounds funny.
Hey, there's a main character in there named Dominic Toretto that I swear is more of a father than my own father was to me.
Interesting.
Yes. That doesn't say much about the relationship I have with my old man, but granted,
Well, now I'm intrigued.
Okay, so jumping off of what you said, what's your favorite bad movie? Like a movie that just in general, like a movie that it's really bad, but you're like, I still dig this.
Oh, I love the worst movie. It's considered the worst movie ever made. They made it seriously. It was supposed to be like a real movie. It was made back in like 2006, 2007. It's called The Room.
Oh, with Tommy Wiseau?
Exactly.
Oh my God, that is fucking terrible.
It is the worst movie ever made, worse than Plan 9 from Outer Space. It is nothing but a series of unrelated cuts put together that are supposed to make some type of cohesive story. It is hilariously bad, and I love it. They've got a book out about it that I got to buy. Justin McAuliffe and I share a love for this movie, and it is just so bad. It is great. I have my movie buddy that I see all the Marvel and DC movies with. She and I share an affinity for really bad movies. So I know my bad movies. And The Room is so awful. You have to see it. It is just so great because there are so many great lines that come out of it because and Tommy Wiseau isn't in on the joke. He doesn't know it's a terrible movie. He thinks he made a good movie.
No, and the thing is, he wrote, produced, directed, and starred in the damn thing.
Yeah, and he is like he's trying to be some type of sophisticated love creature, and he looks like a troll. He's just like it's like somebody ran over strips of leather, and that's what he looks like. He's just this, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be judging, but I mean, he's positioning himself as a sex figure or a sex star, and he's just very odd looking, very leathery, strange, odd looking, and it is so awesome. God, I love that movie. I could quote it almost as much as I can quote a great movie, and that's one of my all-time favorites, Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, Napoleon Dynamite. It's a good movie.
I love that movie, and I love The Big Lebowski, which I just watched last week.
I've never seen Big Lebowski.
What? And you've seen all the Fast and Furious, and you're jamming me up about that, and you haven't seen The Big Lebowski? Yeah. That's a classic.
Hey, I'm Hispanic. The Fast and Furious movies is like a rite of passage for our people.
For our people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Big Lebowski is one of the all-time greats. So what about you, Riley? What's your favorite bad movie? You loved Super Mario Brothers as a kid.
Oh man, yeah, I actually explained that to Jess whenever he was here.
I hate that fucking movie.
So whenever I was a kid, my dad had an NES, and it was the first system that I played. It was the first system that I had ever played as soon as I could hold a controller. And I was playing, Super Mario Bros. Slash Duck Hunt all the time. And I wasn't great at it. Like, I had to stand right up next to the TV and, like, shoot the ducks, or, like, I would die after World 2 of Mario. But it was, it was great. Like, it's my introduction to video games. And in my head, like, there's always that imagination running wild as to what these pixelated characters would actually look like. And then I find out one day when I go to fucking Blockbuster and see the video, the VHS box, there's a Mario movie, and I'm like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened.
And how old were you at that time?
I had to have been around 5.
Oh, okay.
So, greatest thing that ever happened in the 5 years of my understanding of the world. Which my understanding of the world was like Spider-Man and Batman and Mario. And it was great.
Right.
And I watched it. I watched the movie and I was like, huh, these Goombas don't look anything like the Goombas in the game. But I guess that's what they look like, and I just like went with it.
Yeah, me and Gabe just covered that, and that was my Vietnam. Matt Miranda, I know you're in the chat, and I say this very lovingly, but fuck you for recommending that movie.
He didn't recommend it seriously, did he?
Oh, he did. No, he did.
What,
and
Matt did?
Super Mario Brothers. I'm talking about Matt in the chat.
So yeah, I guess that would be one of my favorite bad movies, so to say, because I will never sit there and say that Space Jam is actually a bad movie, because it's a cinematic work of art.
Space Jam is a classic. Doesn't matter what anybody says. My favorite bad movie. I'm trying to think. It would probably be Demolition Man. I love Demolition Man, mostly because of the whole thing that Taco Bell is the only restaurant that survives the future. Plus, come on, it's got Simon Phoenix. You don't get more of a badass name than Simon Phoenix in the 90s and 80s.
I'm trying to think of other bad movies that I really fucking love.
Demolition Man is a bad movie.
Is somebody saying it's a good movie?
Yeah, somebody's saying it's a good movie.
Oh, that's Chris Twidell, who doesn't like Pops.
I will not stand by Howard the Duck. I'd just say that right there. Like, I can't get past fucking duck titties.
Ooh, somebody said Tango and Cash. Tango and Cash is a good and bad movie. Also, Cobra. Cobra was great. Have you ever seen Cobra?
Was that with Sly Stallone?
Yeah.
I don't think I saw it, but I remember it.
That was such a great bad movie.
Birdemic. John's recommending Birdemic. That sounds awful.
Sure, I've seen Birdemic. It's like a really, really shitty version of The Birds. It's like really horribly animated birds flying across the screen in ways that don't make any fucking sense. Like, the animation is not at the right angle. Yeah, it's really bad. It's like, it's not quite as good bad though as like Sharknado, where it's like really fucking just ridiculous, but they at least put some effort into that ridiculousness and they know how ridiculous it is. Like Birdemic is just fucking awful.
Somebody said they didn't like Unbreakable in the chat. That is heresy, sir.
How dare you?
Actually,
Who was
I
that?
watched it for the first time.
So you saw I know you didn't see it when we talked about it a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I watched it like after we talked about it. I rented it because I actually have a rental place next to my house.
Those still exist?
Mine does. It has everything.
We just lost Jess.
Uh-oh.
What'd you think? What'd you think of Unbreakable? I love that movie.
I liked it. I thought it was a solid movie. I thought it was some good shit.
Did you see Split yet?
No, I haven't. I know the connection that's there.
Okay.
I still haven't seen it. I'll probably wind up renting it from that shop to watch that.
Yeah, it came out this week. Max, wow, a lot of bad movies. Black Dynamite is a great bad. No, Black Dynamite isn't a bad movie. It was made like that on purpose. I love Black Dynamite.
Now, what else? What other topics for movie chat did you have?
Oh, like okay, what's your favorite genre? Like me, I'm a horror junkie. Like I grew up watching, and I probably shouldn't have watched this. Like all the Friday the 13th, all the Nightmare on Elm Street, all the Hellraiser movies. Like I was for some reason obsessed with horror, and in fact, I think most of the parents in my neighborhood thought I was the satanic kid. Like, oh, there goes that Lewis kid again. He's killing birds or something like that in his backyard, watching horror movies all the time and stuff. Because I lived in Texas in a predominantly very Christian neighborhood, so I would always walk around sometimes with like a Jason mask, just because I was weird as a kid. I'm pretty sure they didn't like me.
I always had a affinity for. I didn't always have affinity for horror. Horror was like an affinity of mine that I gained since I was like a teenager. Because when I was younger, I was just scared of it. Like I was scared of even the cheesiest horror movies. I was like, that's fucking it's not for me. Like I couldn't do it. And one of my friends was hugely into horror, and he loved Friday the 13th in particular. And he used to talk about, he'd tell me like the plots and shit for the Friday the 13th movies.
Mm-hmm.
But it was funny because my brain processing that in like first grade, like, oh, horror movie, he says Jason and his mom, and he said something like about, and his face is all fucked up and he looks all scaly. And so this is true facts right here. My brain in 6th grade, when I was like however many years old, thought that this movie was about Jason the Red Ranger and his mom was this monster, and then Jason in these movies, when he took off his mask, his Power Rangers helmet, he was an alligator. And I was like, that I don't know if I can deal with that shit, man. So I never watched horror movies until like later on. And then another thing that scarred me from horror movies, horror movies, was I was at in Galveston with my grandparents in Galveston, Texas, and we were at a little rental beach house, and the beach house didn't have any cable, so they had it on UPN, and UPN on Sunday evenings would play like a horror movie around 4 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
They played Leprechaun. And I freaked the fuck out because this kid, like, or the leprechaun in there, like, this guy is like, I wish I had a pot of gold, and then the leprechaun makes the pot of gold like appear inside of his stomach.
I remember that.
And, like,
Cool.
And then it fucking like blows his stomach up, and I was like, what the fuck?
I love the Leprechaun movies. They're so good, dude. Leprechaun in the Hood is my favorite.
My screen froze. So are we talking about horror movies now, or just?
Yeah, we're talking about horror movies.
Okay.
Like, I was before you went away. I was talking to Riley, and I was telling him that I was kind of that weird kid in the neighborhood because I grew up in a predominantly like really Christian small town in Texas when I was a kid, and I was known as the kid that would walk around like the front yard with like a Jason mask, playing around with the other kids in the neighborhood, and like all the parents would be like, "That kid's probably satanic."
And they were right.
Oh no, I'm not satanic.
But we're actually like we're talking about our favorite genres, and I was just like, I love horror now, but when I was a kid, I couldn't do it, and those were some of the reasons why.
Mm.
But my favorite genre has probably always just been sci-fi.
Yeah, I think mine too.
Because I grew up with Star Wars, and other stuff like that, and then when I started getting older, I started looking into other sci-fi movies, and my favorite movies are like 2001: A Space Odyssey, and the original 2 Aliens movies, the first 2 Terminator movies, like stuff like that. Sci-fi action, sci-fi horror. Those are my favorite kinds of movies, and still, those are the movies that I'm drawn to the most, outside of shit that's like adapted from comics. Whenever I go to the movie theater, I don't get out much to go to the movies anymore, outside of like sci-fi and comic book stuff.
Did you guys see The Arrival or Arrival?
I love that.
I
was
did.
so good.
God, I love that movie. I bought the
Oh,
soundtrack for it. I loved it so much. I just
Um,
loved Arrival.
Oh, I absolutely loved it. Me after I watched it, me and Giovanni, we had like a 2-hour conversation on Facebook, just like about how what it meant, the story behind it. Just because there's so much going on in it. I absolutely
Yeah, that's one like movie like Sixth Sense that you once you figure it out, you want to go back and watch it again, knowing what you know at the end. But Amy Adams is like the only woman in that movie. So that's her movie. Everything else is a bunch of guys. So that's a very strong female protagonist role, and she carries it really well. She's just phenomenal in that movie.
I really fucking like that movie, and it was funny because I saw the twist coming like from about 30 minutes in, and I was like, is that what they're doing? Because that's really fucking interesting.
Yeah.
And then like I watched further, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing. And then I told my wife, I was like, I think this is what's going on. Like, and then she was like, huh. And then we keep watching, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. And it was great. It was fantastic. I thought it wrapped up really well, and it was good because not only did it give an interesting plot, interesting twist, interesting alien life forms.
Yeah.
But it was very emotionally driven.
Right. Yeah. I just I thought that was just a perfect movie. I loved everything about it.
Yeah, Arrival is one actually that I would actually love to do like a talk. And I even talked to Gabe, to Gio about it, and I was like, I brought it up to Gio. I brought Arrival, and I brought it just came out this week on Blu-ray. The M. Night Shyamalan film. I can't remember the name of it right now.
Split?
Split. I brought it up and I was like, let's do a spoiler talk of it. But it never went anywhere because I really was obsessed with those 2 films for a while, and I wanted to talk so much about them. Especially Arrival. God, Arrival was so good. Ugh. But if you're somebody that hasn't seen it and you're looking for like a film that is like aliens blowing up things, that's not what this is. You have that shitty Independence Day movie that came out over the summer for that. That was a piece of shit. Holy shit, was that terrible.
I didn't watch the second one, but when I was a kid, I really dug the first one because
the second one.
My birthday is on Independence Day, and I was like, this movie's about my fucking birthday. When I was a kid, everything was weird. Like I in retrospect, I had a really weird take on the world. I don't think I understood most of the world.
I don't think anybody does when they're a kid, man.
I don't understand it now.
That's true. That's very true. I don't understand it now either, so don't feel bad.
What,
I don't think anybody ever really understands the world fully. They just kind of, as it goes, they're just like, oh, okay. You start getting bits and pieces, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought Friday the 13th was about the Power Rangers.
That's very true.
And I thought that the song Waterfalls said Go Go Jason Waterfall.
Ugh. Go Jason Waterfall. By
And
the
I
way,
was like, what do waterfalls have to do with the fucking Power Rangers? I don't get it. Like, I guess a lot of my childhood was about the Power Rangers and me misunderstanding the rest of the world because the Power Rangers didn't make sense to begin with.
oh man, happy 420, by the way, those of you out there that are smoking the devil's lettuce today.
Is today 420? Oh
Yes.
yeah, man. I'm out of it. I forgot about it. Happy 420.
I don't. I ate broccoli though with my dinner.
Close enough.
Yeah, sure. But Jess, we were talking about favorite genres. So what would you say is your favorite genre? I guess you did say kind of you like sci-fi.
I do like sci-fi. I like comedy. I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of real life, real hard life, traumatized dramas because I go to movies for escape, and so I'm not going to go see a movie that just bums me out. It may be a work of art, and it may be fantastic, but what's the movie that just won the Oscar for Best Movie? I have no interest in seeing it. It wasn't Manchester by the Sea. It was
Moonlight.
Moonlight. Yeah.
My wife watched it and she said it was aight. She said it's aight.
Yeah. I think my wife could go see that and we'd be happy. I just want to go for escape, so I tend to go to comedy or sci-fi movies. I'm trying to think of. I like small independent films. Those are cool. I like Coen Brothers films, stuff like that. I'm trying to think. I like Jim Jarmusch. I like his films. So things. I like small independent films too. I guess I can handle real life in a small independent film. But yeah, Moonlight. That's not the kind of movie that's going to get me to the theater or get me to watch it at home. Yeah, I'm not into it. Sci-fi and comedy. That, yeah, my world revolves around that. Now that I think about it.
The two meet, you're just like,
Yeah, if I can get like a superhero movie that's got some comedy in it, then that's great. That's why I love Guardians of the Galaxy.
I was gonna say, I think there's something coming out next month that sounds up your alley.
Yeah, that's why I love that movie so much.
2 weeks away. Early reviews have started to like eke out a little bit, and apparently it's the best one they've done, like the best Marvel film, and it's better than the first.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. That first one was just picture perfect to me, spot on. Everything was just so great about it.
Same.
Yeah. So yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy. I pretty much have a cinema boner for that. Yeah. Absolutely, head explodes.
So, Goodfellas or Godfather? I'm just looking at the chat.
I loved Goodfellas, but I'm a Godfather guy the whole way.
Really? I'm a Goodfellas guy.
I like the pigeons from the Animaniacs show.
I remember those.
Good Feathers.
I like Goodfellas a little bit more.
Yeah, I understand that. It's a fabulous movie.
What about Godfather or Godfather 2?
Ooh,
I'm saying
Godfather, 2. 2 is great. I'm still gonna have to stick with 1.
Oh, okay. Respect.
Gabe just mentioned The Matrix. God, I love The Matrix.
Oh man, The Matrix. I remember the first time I watched The Matrix. It blew my mind. I was like, as a kid.
Yeah, I remember watching The Matrix for the first time, and then I promptly watched it for a second time. I was like, that was dope.
Yeah.
I did not think it was the Power Rangers, so that was also cool.
Did you think the Power Rangers were in Matrix?
No, I didn't. That was the good thing.
Okay,
Ah.
good.
Riley just goes into every movie assuming the Power Rangers are in it. Schindler's List, where are the Power Rangers?
Oh yeah, no, I did see Schindler's List. I did love. I mean, I did watch it and was moved strongly by Schindler's List.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen Schindler's List?
Never seen Schindler's List.
Holy guacamole!
Yeah, I need to watch Schindler's List. I've never seen it. Or Wizard of Oz.
You lie.
No, I do. I swear to you, I've never seen Wizard of Oz. I always got to the flying monkeys
Get
and they freaked me out. The flying monkeys
Get out of
freaked me
this
out.
chat. Yeah, they are freaky, but get out of this chat right now. I
Ah,
haven't seen Wizard of Oz.
I've never seen Wizard of Oz.
My childhood was built around that movie. Good heavens. And someday I want to play Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd from the very beginning, with the very beginning of Wizard of Oz, because the first 7 minutes or something is supposed to sync up perfectly. Wizard of Oz with Dark Side of the Moon.
It
First
does.
15 minutes or something. How do you know? You haven't seen Wizard of Oz?
I spoke with a college professor that did it. No. Like I spoke actually, it was what was it? We were in an English class, and I forgot the reason why. The college professor brought Dark Side of the Moon, and then he synced it up with like a scene from Wizard of Oz, and it fit almost perfectly.
Yeah, I got to do that.
There's also Alice in Wonderland and The Wall synced up pretty well.
Does it really?
Alice in Wonderland. Who was in that? You mean the Johnny Depp Alice in Wonderland?
No, the Disney cartoon.
Oh, the Disney cartoon. Oh, okay. I've got that.
Are you guys paying attention to the chat?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Fast and Furious.
Did you
Speaking
see
of Fast and Furious,
there's like, I think it's like 3 different accounts that are like spam
They're
accounts.
spamming. Yeah, they're spamming you pretty badly.
They're saying like 3 of them going back and forth about some Steam thing. I just told them all to fuck themselves with a rake.
what?
You could ban those accounts.
There's
I don't know if I can do that like from here, can I?
Yeah, you can do it in the chat. Just click on their name.
Steam. What's Steam?
I can't click on anyone's name.
I've done it before.
Wait, maybe I click on the dots. Oh, here it goes. Remove.
Oh, there it is.
Oh no, that's just removing the comment. Oh man.
There should be a hammer there where you can block them. I've done it before.
A hammer.
Fucking banhammer.
I've done it before. 2001: A Space Odyssey. I've never seen it.
What the hell have you been doing with your life?
Now fucking Luis has homework to do.
I've never seen 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah,
heard it's
you have
pretentious.
homework to do. Wizard of Oz and 2001.
I've heard 2001's a bit pretentious.
A bit pretentious. Come on, man. It came out in 1970 or 1969. It was
It was in the 60s that it came out, and like you watch that movie, and if you watch it on like with on Blu-ray with a great sound system,
yeah.
like it holds up so well. And it's not the most exciting movie that fucking ever happened, but it's so beautiful. It's so well put together. The cinematography is incredible, and it really sets the precedent for everything that came after it.
Yeah, I agree totally. It was groundbreaking back in, when was it, 68 or 69, whenever it came out. It was shockingly original and futuristic, amazing vision on Kubrick's part, and Stanley Clark, is he the one that wrote the book? Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
And then Marvel had the adaptation of it from Jack Kirby, and then they did an ongoing series set in the same universe where they introduced us to Machine Man.
Machine Man?
Mm.
So Machine Man, Aaron Stack, is originally a character from 2001.
Okay. Okay, I'll watch 2001. I'm getting so much hell in the chat. I will watch the movie.
And then there's also 2010, but 2010 is not nearly as enjoyable as 2001.
How about
No,
2012?
Well, 2010 was actually related.
Arthur
Was
C.
it?
Clarke. That's right.
Because there's in the books, there's I think like it's 3 or 4 books in the sequence. It's like 2001, 2010, 2000 and something. I don't know. And it's this big odyssey, like connected, and the film for 2010 came out a little while after the 2001 film, but it didn't really make any waves.
No, I still watched it, but it wasn't nearly the same league.
I watched that one actually a couple years ago. Not even a couple years. It was like a few months ago that I watched it.
2010.
Yeah. I had never watched it before, but I was like, I love 2001 so much, I should probably watch this one. And I watched it, and I was like, I probably shouldn't have watched this one.
I haven't seen Full Metal Jacket. Somebody's asking me.
At least watch the first half of Full Metal Jacket. At the very least.
Hey, if it helps, I've seen Blade Runner. That's my favorite sci-fi film of all time.
The Blade Runner is great.
Full Metal Jacket has Vincent D'Onofrio in like one of, if not his first role.
Yeah, that's before he got fat.
He was fat. He was fat there.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he's pretty portly.
Yeah, he played Thor.
Let me find a picture of him.
So, Jess, replicant or not?
I haven't seen it since it came out, so I can't answer that.
You have to see the final cut, man.
I know. I do need to see the final cut. Is that out on Blu-ray? Everything?
Yeah.
Can I rent the final cut?
You can get a Blu-ray that has all the cuts in the Blu-ray.
Well, I just want to see the final cut.
I think the final cut's on Netflix.
Oh, okay. Well, I can see
think that's
that.
fine.
Don't add that to my homework, though. I suck at my homework. I definitely need to. Maybe this weekend. It's supposed to be rainy. I'm making no promises, though, because I suck at it. I suck at my homework.
What other topic? Because Luis, you have like 3 or 4 different things we wanted to talk about as far as movies go.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, what's your favorite film? Let's go with what's your most anticipated for this year. Mine would have to be. I've actually got a few. I'm looking forward to the new Blade Runner. I want to see Dunkirk because it's a Nolan and it's a war movie, and I really want to see what he does with that. And of course, there's the comic book films, Guardians of the Galaxy, and all that stuff.
Is it bad that all I can think about is the comic book films? I can't think of any other movies that are coming out that I'm dying to see. All I can think of is comic book films.
I have to get a list because I actually don't know what's coming out. The only non-comic book film that I really know is coming out this year is Star Wars.
That's right. Yeah,
I really want to see it.
Yeah, this really is an amazing time to be alive. Kids don't know how lucky they have it.
There's so much good stuff.
Alien Covenant.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Come out. Dark Towers film adaptation is meant to come out.
That's going to get pushed back.
What's up?
I think Dark Tower is going to get pushed back. I can't see that coming out this year.
Well, it's scheduled, so it's on there. Baby Driver by Edgar Wright.
Yes.
I love Edgar Wright.
Amen.
And I watched the trailer for that one recently, and it just looks fucking fantastic.
I can't wait for Baby Driver. Of course, the new Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, which I guess is meant to be the wrapping up that trilogy.
Yeah.
The new It movie, the trailer looks pretty good.
Gabe, you sent me the Blu-ray with all the cuts. Did I acknowledge getting it?
I think you did.
You mean I I own that?
I think Gabe sent it to you. I think you mentioned it before.
Wait a minute. Are you kidding?
It's somewhere. It's somewhere in the home. It's got. I think. I'm swear to you. I think Gabe told you that he sent it to you.
I have Blade Runner with all the cuts?
I think I saw you get it too. I think
Yeah.
you like posted like something about
What
getting.
a loser. I am a total loser. I am so sorry, Gabe. Jay Lewis is saying, yeah, I showed it to him on air. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, Gabe. Okay. I fully acknowledge my total loserishness, and I will absolutely watch the final cut this weekend along with Planet of the Apes that I may or may not watch.
I've just given up hope on it.
Oh gosh.
It's not happening. I've given up hope.
I can't believe I was sent that movie and I don't even remember it. What a dork. I'm so sorry, Gabe. I apologize a million times.
You definitely need to watch the final cut. It's really good.
People know what I have more than I know what I have. That's ridiculous.
Somebody's saying it was months. Jay Lewis is saying it was like last fall that they sent you that.
Well, I think what happens is I get them and I go, great, and then I just file them and I forget to watch it. So that's not an excuse. That's just what happens.
Just so you guys know, when you send Jess gifts, he just sticks them in the corner.
I say, this is great, and then Matt, I think Matt Miranda sent me Ghost in the Shell, which I haven't watched yet. But the original anime, Ghost in the Shell, which I need to watch.
I imagine Jess like getting packages and then being like making a scene about like, yay, so and so sent me this as a gift, like thank you so much, and then he just fucking throws it behind him.
It's in the garage.
Like a pile of
There's a big pile of stuff behind my chair. Oh, this was awesome. Boink.
A whole bunch of shit in the garage. Yeah, I'll get to it.
There's animals living under it now. Oh man.
Ooh, Pan's Labyrinth. Yeah, Pan's Labyrinth is really good. Yeah.
I did like Pan's Labyrinth. That was good. Another foreign film that I liked was a Guillermo del Toro movie. That's my favorite kind of movie because it was really full of ghosts. What the heck was that called?
The Orphanage?
Devil's Backbone, exactly.
Oh, Devil's Backbone is so good.
Yeah, that Devil's Backbone was amazing.
I don't think I saw Devil's Backbone.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Speaking of Guillermo del Toro, fucking Pacific.
His Spanish horror films are so friggin' good, man.
But Pacific Rim, like one of the best movies ever.
Yeah, so I saw it again the other night.
That movie fucking holds up.
Yeah, it does. That was the movie I used to test my my TV the other night with a 4K player, and it looks incredible on a new 4K TV. Old Boy. I've never seen Old Boy.
I saw the original, and I watched the remake part of it while I was working at the movie theater.
Best buddy cop movie. Oh, that's easy. Lethal Weapon.
Turner and Hooch.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Batman and Robin.
Tango and Cash.
Tango and Cash.
21 Jump Street.
Damn.
Oh, that was a great movie.
That is good. That is fucking real good. 22 Jump Street is just as good too, I think.
I need that.
Lightning in a Bottle, man. Like,
yeah.
It's crazy that like that second movie was as good as it was. And I loved just the fucking jokes at the end about future franchise installments up to like 2020 Jump Street and stuff.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna cross over with Men in Black, or that's the plan.
I heard about that. I completely forgot.
Yeah, they're working on it.
Oh man,
But Lord and Miller are not a part of the project. The guys that did the first 2 films.
That's lame, but at the same time, like, even if that's bad, it's going to be amazing. Because, like, if something like that is bad, you can't be upset. Because, like, it shouldn't be good in the first place.
Oh, absolutely not.
A movie based on 21 Jump Street should be a pile of shit.
Yeah. That movie should not have worked as well as it did.
It shouldn't have even been a movie.
And the sequel shouldn't have been as good as it was.
Yeah.
Like, so
I still laugh every single time. You fuck the captain's daughter. Oh my! I died in the theater during that scene.
He's like running around the thing.
He's running around. You fuck the captain's daughter. And Ice Cube is just pissed as hell looking at him. Oh my god, I love that movie. I might watch that tonight. Actually, I've got editing to do. I might do that tonight.
I actually like bought a copy of it while I was in Houston a couple weeks ago, so I have that, and I could watch that tonight. That would be great.
22 Jump Street?
Yeah.
I have the first one. I didn't get the second one though.
Oh, okay.
I also I need to remind y'all that I did work at a movie theater for 6 years. So if there's any sort of types of stories or any questions that I could tell y'all about, like, I don't know, like worst things and shit, like.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing you ever had to clean up?
Oh.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say condom.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna say no condom, because most people that have sex in a movie theater are not smart enough to use one. The worst thing I ever cleaned up was there was a popcorn bag on the floor, and we go over to go pick it up, and usually, you know, it's light or empty, whatever. You just grab it and toss it in the trash bag, and it was like heavy. And when we picked it up, it was full of vomit. Like they used it as a bag, and it had been sitting there for so long that when we lifted it up, it just tore, and the vomit spilled out everywhere.
Oh, I'm so sorry I asked that question.
Oh, that's disgusting.
It was gross. It wasn't me that was cleaning it, but I was right next to the dude that cleaned it, and he was just like, "What the fuck?" Like when that happened, and I was like, "Yeah."
Okay.
The weirdest thing I ever found in a theater, though.
The what? The greatest thing?
The weirdest. The
Oh,
weirdest.
I want to find out what the greatest thing was too. What's
Uh,
the weirdest?
Was a empty jar of pickles.
What the fuck?
I was like, someone brought a jar of, because it was like I was going through, and it was probably like a comedy movie like The Hangover or something, and I was like going through, and there's beer cans and stuff, like people sneaking in booze and wine bottles and boxed wine. And I'm like throwing all that shit away, and I get to the top, and there's a goddamn jar of pickles. And I was like, did they just eat the whole jar while they were here? There's not even any food.
It wasn't like 50 Shades of Grey or anything like that?
Do what?
It wasn't like 50 Shades of Grey or anything like that would make sense in?
No, and that's gross. But it was like there was enough juice in there that it was obvious that there were pickles there, but there was no pickles at the time that I picked it up. And I was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever found. I just tossed it in there and let it go.
What's the best thing you ever found?
The best thing I
find something great, like money or something?
Well, I found money plenty of times because people just lose it. Like it goes out of their pockets. So I'd find like $20 here and there. I found the greatest thing for myself was a little figurine of Goku from Dragon Ball Z, and it was super dope. And I was like, this is the coolest thing that ever happened. And then I just had that like on my shelf. It wasn't even that cool. It was just like, it was kind of neat. But the coolest, or the best thing that someone else found that turned into an interesting situation was one of the dudes who was a huge stoner. He found a dime bag of weed. So he grabbed it and he walks outside and he's like, "Hey guys, I just found the dime bag." And we're like, "Oh, that's funny." And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go smoke this real quick. And before he went to go smoke it, this guy came rushing in and like went into the theater and was like looking around and stuff. And then he ran back out like looking extremely disappointed. And it was entirely just, you could tell that that guy was looking for his weed, but you can't fucking say anything. Like you can't go up to
You guys
someone.
find a bag of weed?
Excuse me, sir. Did you happen to find a small bag of weed? No? Okay, thanks. I'll look elsewhere. I must have left it in the car. Like, no, you're not. You can't do that. So it was pretty funny because then the guy, like, the dude walked off and the guy that found the weed, like, started laughing and he just went outside and smoked it. I remember him coming back and he's like, pretty good stuff.
He was gonna finish that weed.
Yeah, he's like, I was gonna smoke all that shit. 420 blaze it. I remember I was standing like by where the bathrooms were, waiting for a movie to end, so I could go clean. And this lady comes from around the corner, and she's just like really frantic, and she's like, "There's a man in the theater that's touching himself." And I was like, well, shit, I'll go like tell him to not touch himself real quick. So I'm like going with her to go into the theater and like expose this dude. And he's like running out the back door of the theater, like as I went back there.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was your math teacher from high school.
Pervert. No, I don't think I knew the guy. There was one guy that worked in the projection booth. He said that he would see people like fucking and stuff all the time. He's like, sometimes I just look down and there's people having sex down there. I'm like, oh.
This was in Houston?
Yeah. And I found some people, they were like getting it on inside of one of those like car games where like you sit inside the thing and it's got like a.
Yeah. The arcade game?
It's the arcade, but the cabinet has a curtain on either side, so you can like people don't bother you.
Yeah.
And they were sitting in there and they were like getting it on, and we just like opened it up when we were like, do that elsewhere.
Man, I give them points for creativity. That's awesome.
There was, while working in a theater, which was the movie you felt was the best received by the audience? I want to say either Avengers or one of the Fast and Furious movies.
Hell yeah!
Because
about
the
family.
Fast and Furious movies have such a broad circle of acceptance and enjoyability. Like, people love those movies. People of all ages, people of all races and creeds and genders, like, everyone's like, this shit's fucking dope, man. Like,
oh man, dude, I'm telling you, it is an event in the neighborhood I grew up in, because the neighborhood I grew up in here in Florida. I spent half my life in Texas, half my life here. Is predominantly Hispanic. When a Fast and Furious movie comes out, the gang violence stops. It's like everybody goes on truce for about 2 hours, and they all head to the movie theaters in their riced out cars, and you know they're going there because all you hear down the street is gang, 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 and they all head to the movie theater, and for 2 hours there is peace.
And do they hold hands and sing Kumbaya?
I'm telling you, it is an event. At the last one, there were people crying I saw gangbangers crying in my theater at the end of the last Fast and Furious movie.
Good heavens.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to see these movies.
It's about family, Jess. You don't drink anymore, but okay. Every time they say the word family, just have a whole bunch of root beer with you and just take a total root beer.
In the theater?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, in the movie, they say family a lot?
Oh, it's like every other word.
So it's a drinking game?
Yeah, there's a drinking game that every single time they say family, you drink. I played it the other night with a few friends.
you fucking die at the end of that game.
I was halfway through the movie and I was gone.
All right, now you've got me intrigued.
Like the Fast and Furious movies, like the first couple of them, it's pretty straight up. It's just like, okay, there's guys and they're racing, and then there's cops, and
Yeah.
there's shit that happens, and there's like, you know, what is it, like there's drugs going around, and then
The first movie is basically just a remake of Point Break, and it's all about them stealing DVD players. That's how old the movie is.
Do I have to watch them in order, or can I just drop in and watch Fast and Furious 4?
There's a canon and there's an order.
Yeah.
But really, like, you can watch whatever you want out of those movies whenever you want.
But I would say you won't appreciate the family enough unless you watch all of them in order. There's a build-up to it.
You won't care
Right.
about the ending to Fast and the Furious 7 if you didn't watch the other ones.
Oh my goodness.
But like the further it goes, though, it's like every one of them just gets more and more and more entirely goddamn ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely. I'm pretty sure in the next one they're going to space.
I mean, where they have left to go?
Nowhere.
They like start. I remember when Fast and Furious 4 came out, and I remember it coming out because I was working at the movie promo company, and I was like doing promotion stuff for that movie, and I went to go watch it, and I didn't watch the whole thing, but I remember watching part of it, and they have like that safe that they're dragging, and they start like using it as a ball and chain.
Yeah, they play ping pong with it
Across the freeway, and I was like, what? And then these guys are running around and doing fucking parkour.
Yeah.
Parkour.
Yeah, and I was like, what? And then like you get to the next movie and they're like jumping out of buildings in cars, and you get to the next building and they're like cars are parachuting out of planes. And then like I'm like, what is the fucking what? And then the commercial, he's like, I got a tank, and he's all excited about it. Like, was it Ludacris's character who has a tank?
Yeah, no, Tyrese.
Tyrese has the tank, and then like I forget what the joke in the trailer is, but like something happens with the tank. Like they're like I think they mentioned something about being inconspicuous. I don't remember what it is, but
this new one is great. The Rock palms a missile. He palms a missile and he redirects it towards the enemy ship. It's amazing. It is incredible.
It's everything that like creates peace and joy in the world. Because in those 2 hours of watching this ridiculous shit show of cars and muscular people, nothing else matters. Like, you don't care about anything, like whether you enjoy it or not. You're just sitting there like mouth agape, like, what is going on here? And it's just hilarious because of how widely that shit is accepted.
Oh yeah.
Great film.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that's what's crazy to me. Like, it's like the guys who are making these movies, like Jeremy Lin is like, when he was doing it, was just like, well, you know, that car had a fucking ball and chain on it. Let's throw someone out of a building into another building. Well, that went well, so let's fucking parachute. Like, they're trying to keep one-upping. It's like a fucking game of horse.
Okay, you've sold me. I will definitely start watching those after I watch Planet of the Apes and Prometheus and what was the Bill Paxton movie I had to see?
Frailty.
I also don't know why there's not like Fast and the Furious comic books.
Have you seen Frailty, Riley?
I don't think I have.
It's set in Texas. I think it's set in Austin.
You know what else is set in Texas?
Mm.
Chainsaw Massacre.
It's a good movie. I love Texas. That's my favorite horror film.
Also, Death Proof.
Never seen it.
Good movie from fucking Quentin Tarantino. Which reminds me, another one of my favorite movies is Kill Bill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Parts 1 and 2. Great.
Kill Bill's good stuff.
I just got the soundtrack to From Dusk Till Dawn. That's another really good movie.
Dusk Till Dawn is classic. I love that.
Yeah.
Robert, and that was Salma Hayek when she was just coming out.
Yeah. It makes me want to see the movie again. The soundtrack does.
Reservoir Dogs. There you go. Now you're going back.
That's a classic. That's a great
Res
movie.
Dogs.
I
Res
can
Dogs.
never listen to Stuck in the Middle with You again the same way.
Same.
Oh yeah, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Simpsons did a parody of that, of the Stuck in the Middle.
Oh, they did when?
I think it was either The Simpsons or Family Guy that they did a parody of it. No, it was The Simpsons. It was Itchy and Scratchy. Yeah, Itchy and Scratchy did a parody of it.
I remember that. Did I don't think either of you guys are watching like this season of The Simpsons because I'm the only one
Yeah,
that
I'm not.
tortures myself.
How is that? Is that still holding up okay?
Last season was pretty good. This season sucks ass, and I'm about to tell you one of the reasons why. They're experimenting with something weird, where like Homer will bust out into song, but they won't do it with any music.
What?
It's just his voice, and so
That's a constant theme throughout the whole
it's
season?
happened at least twice within like 10 episodes. Which it's never happened before this season, before season 28, as long as I can remember. And they've done it twice. One of them, he's singing with this dude about like chili, and it's set up as kind of like a Disney-esque like moment, like Zippity Doodah, which obviously is a racist thing. Like
Uncle Remus's Tales or whatever it was.
Oh my god! Like I remember when I found out, like people were like, "This is a bad movie because fucking racism," and I was like, "But zippity doodah."
Yeah.
But anyway, that's beside the point. So there's like an old dude who's making chili, and Homer's like, "This is the best chili ever," and then they start singing together about it. But there's no music in the background; it's just their voices and Homer's voice. And then later in another episode, they do it where Homer is singing the song like "You're the best around," but it's only his voice, so it's like "You're the best around." So it's really weird. There's no music behind it at all, and it just does not work at all. And I don't know who's directing these episodes or whatever, who's deciding to do this, but it's horrible, and they never do it.
That is sad.
I just think they might not even care anymore. It's just like, yeah, whatever.
But it sucks because like Matt Groening put so much good into Futurama.
Yeah.
And that wrapped just a few years ago, and it was pretty good all the way through.
I love the ending of Futurama. It ended so well.
Yeah, the ending was really good, and even like the last season itself, like as a whole, was pretty good for a show that went on 2 hiatuses.
Yeah.
Canceled twice. But then The Simpsons, it's like he hasn't even looked at it.
He's probably cashing in that check at this point.
Yeah, it's on autopilot for him.
Yeah, but I mean, like I still watch it out of habit, and because I'm like, well, I've already watched 600 episodes of The Simpsons, I might as well keep watching fucking more episodes of The Simpsons. So either The Simpsons is going to be canceled or I will die, but either way, I will as much as I could.
You know what? Honestly, what it would take for The Simpsons to end, one of the main cast members has to go.
Well, they lost secondary members of the cast, like the woman who plays Edna.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like a Homer or a Bart or one of those has to go.
Hank Azaria died or something.
Yeah.
I know Mrs. Krabappel just died a year or so ago, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Edna Krabappel.
Oh, right. How did they handle that as far as the schoolroom? Do they just not? Does Bart have a new teacher, or do they just not show Bart in school?
She's not as prevalent anymore. If they, I forget if they even use her, because if they do, it's so sparingly that it doesn't even stay with me.
Yeah, and I would imagine if they used her, they've got enough sound clips throughout the years that they could probably just put something.
But they did whenever she died. They did Bart writing on the chalkboard, it was just like a single, like, we'll miss you, Mrs. Krabappel, and then he's not writing. There's just one line, and then he's like looking down at his feet, and he's sad.
Aw.
Oh. As far as chalkboard writing, my favorite one was "The Pledge of Allegiance does not end with Hail Satan." I always loved that one.
I always got like yelled at for not saying the pledge in school.
You were a communist? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
What a little rebel you were.
I just didn't want to like do it.
Riley's a sleeper agent.
Yeah.
Comrade Mo here for service.
Comrade Riley. Your stupid Pledge of Allegiance.
I mean, I got in trouble once. This isn't related, but I'm just thinking about times I got in trouble at school. The stupidest thing I ever got in trouble for, and the repercussions that happened not to me but the teacher were ridiculous. I got in trouble for sharpening my crayon during the pledge.
Really?
Yeah. I was sharpening my fucking crayon in one of those like plastic sharpeners on the back of the crayon box.
Yeah.
Like if you spent the extra $1 and got the fancy one. And my teacher was like fucking dropping shit about it. Like she just fucking flipped out. And so she threw me into this was when I was in first grade. She threw me into the classroom like in a closet and locked the door while everyone went out to go to recess, and she turned off all the lights
Oh my gosh.
and just locked me in
can't
there.
do that.
That's scary.
And so then they came back in, and like I told my mom that day, I was like, my teacher locked me in the dark, and my mom just fucking lost it. And she,
I bet.
I would have raised hell.
she went to the school, and my mom works in television. She has for years. At the time, she was contracted to one specific station, so she had connections to all those people there. It was a news station, Channel 8 in Houston. So she goes in there and she tells the teacher, like, first she looks at her and she said, "You're a sick bitch." And then she went to the principal and tells the principal, like, "You need to fire this fucking bitch, like, immediately." And then they told her, like, "We can't fire her for," and she's like, she's doing shit that's just not right, like, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, "If you don't get rid of her, I will have the Channel 8 news here today."
Whoa.
And they had to get rid of her. But they couldn't fire her because, the teachers are protected, or she was. So they had to move her. So she went and started teaching in California. And I was moved. Like, my mom was like, "We're taking him out of school." And it was a private school, so they're like, "Well, you already paid for whatever." And she's like, "I don't give a fuck. I'm taking my kid out of school. Like, you're not going to do that kind of shit here." So that happened.
I got tied to my chair in first grade because I was so fidgety. She took jump ropes and tied me to the back of my chair so I'd sit in my seat and stay seated. My parents were not pleased at that. That was back in like 1965. But the teachers could get away with it back then, I guess. I remember I had to stand in a closet too. I was not a particularly well-behaved child.
They used to be able to hit you guys too, right?
Oh, totally. You could get spanked, and no questions asked. Boom. Wow. Yeah, that didn't go away until like the 70s. There was a special paddle they had for that. Yeah, you could get turned over someone's knees and they could crack on you pretty heavily. Yeah, I remember that.
Gabe said they had jump ropes back then.
Shut up, Gabe. You pie eater, you. Go eat some more berry pie.
Did you see that picture of Gabe?
I sure did.
Oh,
I
man.
thought he got in a fight.
I for a split second, I'm like, yo, what happened to Gabe? I thought he lost the fight. No, he just had a pie eating contest. He won, but he had the look on his face like I didn't really win.
Yeah, he did not look like he was feeling too good.
No.
Yeah.
And then Matt just asked if football is as big of a deal in Texas as everyone says it is.
Is it?
I think so, but I don't care. So usually I guess I can gauge by like how annoyed I get during Super Bowl season. And typically it's very, very annoyed. But because it's always like everyone wants to stop everything that they're doing because the Super Bowl is happening, and every single conversation is about how, like, you know, one team is fighting another team, and I'm like, I don't understand this at all. Like, I don't know who any of these people are. And then you get yelled at if you don't know what things are.
But he does know where the X-Men pajamas are in every Target in Austin. We went right, yeah, we went right to the T-shirt section, and he said, "Here's some Boss T-shirts."
Yeah, because all Targets are basically set the same way.
That's.
But yeah, I got yelled at the other day by one of my coworkers because I didn't know who a certain sport person was.
Sport person?
I'm gonna guess Aaron Hernandez.
Ooh, going dark.
The one who like hung himself up on a
yeah.
I felt no sympathy.
I didn't know who he was. I still don't know who he is, except for the fact that he's dead.
Yeah.
Not a very nice guy.
No, he was in jail for a reason.
Yeah.
They were like, he's a football player who went to jail, and I was like, OJ? Wait, no. That's right. Well, OJ went to jail later.
OJ.
But yeah, I still don't know who that is. But then when they said his name, I was like, I know that there's other people like named. Isn't there like an Aaron Rodriguez or something in another sport or in the same sport? And they call him like A-Rod. So I was like, do they call him Ahern? That was my thought for about 10 minutes. I was sitting there like,
I was Aaron Hernandez.
Ahern.
Wait, no, now you've got me confused. Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah, it was Aaron Hernandez that died this weekend.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He died.
Ahern died.
Ahern bit it. But as Matt says, it's always Michael Jordan. I had a life-size cutout of Michael Jordan in my room when I was growing up.
Oh, same. Who didn't?
Me.
Who did you have? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right?
And I was
Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt Chamberlain and the Harlem Globetrotters was around that time, right? I'm not trying to like bust them for the age, but
yeah, Harlem Globetrotters were big back then, back in the early 70s. Yeah.
Remember when the Harlem Globetrotters met Scooby-Doo?
That was classic.
Scooby-Doo didn't meet the Harlem Globetrotters. They met Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
There you go.
The real.
You know what? There was a Harlem Globetrotters cartoon back in the day where they had superpowers.
Oh, I seem to recall that.
There was also an episode of Futurama where the Harlem Globetrotters, or a team that was based on the Harlem Globetrotters, appeared, and they were all super geniuses.
We are so far off.
Yeah, we are. Now we're on our tangent.
Well, I mean,
this is like one of our chats in the Facebook group where we just go off on tangents.
I mean,
it's still cultural.
Yeah. Was Don Knotts? Don Knotts was there.
Where was Don Knotts?
During the Harlem Globetrotters episode when they met Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, Don Knotts was always fucking there.
Just had Joe DiMaggio. How dare you, sir?
Oh man, dad jokes.
I'm pretty bad with dad jokes.
My wife gets really angry with me because of my dad jokes.
Same.
I don't have any dad jokes.
And you're a dad.
Yeah. I didn't even know dad jokes were a thing. I'm out of the loop, man.
Dad jokes and building decks.